Welcome back to another week of 8 divisions in 8 weeks on the Talking Sunday podcast, the 2020 NFL preview show. And this week, we're heading all the way up to the frozen tundra of the NFC North. But first, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at the Talking Sunday handle. Who will indeed be this year's 2020 King of the North? In today's episode, we're heading all the way up there to those funny little purple people eaters. Skol! Even though the Vikings didn't make it to the Super Bowl last year, we saw a significant jump in the offense. Head coach Mike Zimmer wanted to get his football team back to running the football and playing tough defense, and that's exactly what they did when they brought in Gary Kubiak to be the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. Kubiak happens to be a 4-time Super Bowl winning champion back with the 49ers and Broncos, and has a knack for squeezing all the juice out of his running backs. Running backs from as big as Terrell Davis to as small as Steve Slayton and Justin Forsett have all had career years within the confines of Kubiak's zone running offense. And that's exactly what we saw out of budding superstar running back Dalvin Cook. The Vikings finished 6th in the league in total rushing yards, and as predicted, Cook had a breakout season. He was able to accumulate over 1,600 total yards and 13 touchdowns before going down with a shoulder sprain and missing the final 2 games of the season. Not only was Cook able to burst onto the scene, but we got much better quarterback play out of Kirk Cousins. Before implementing Kubiak's offense, Cousins attempted over 600 passes in 2018. Only Matt Ryan, Andrew Luck, and Ben Roethlisberger attempted more. I'm not saying Cousins is bad, but there's no way in hell a guy like Kirk should be throwing the ball that many times in one season. Cousins' attempts were cut drastically to under 450 passes, eliminating the pressure, and he actually performed much better, ranking out as the 5th best quarterback, just how Zimmer envisioned. Speaking of the defensive-minded coach, the purple people-eating defense continues to be the backbone of this team. The defense ranked 5th in the league overall and 4th in takeaways. Not only was this unit pesky as hell against all opponents, but they were extremely disciplined, finishing last in penalties. That should keep Zimmer pretty happy. The core of the Vikings defense has been together for years, but there will certainly be new faces in 2020. After all that successful talk about the Vikings defense, this is where things start to get a little gloomy. Minnesota entered free agency by letting go of 6 starting caliber players, 5 of which were on the defense. Up front along that stout defensive line, defensive tackle Laval Joseph and pass rusher Everson Griffin were let go by the team. Although 32 years old, Griffin can still play as he got 24 hits on the quarterback and registered 8 sacks for the Vikings last season. As of now, Griffin is still out there on the free market and still has a chance to return to Minnesota. All 3 starting corners in Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, and Mackenzie Alexander were cut by the team as well. Cornerback is one of the most important positions in the game, and if you're gonna get rid of all your starting cornerbacks, you better have a backup plan. On the offensive side of the ball, the Vikings parted ways with their star wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Diggs became popular among the fan base after the Minneapolis Miracle and has eclipsed over 1,000 receiving yards the past 2 seasons. With the team moving to a more run-eccentric offense, Diggs expressed his frustration with the team and was traded to Buffalo. As you can see, Minnesota lost a ton of key contributors to the team, and they would have to make up for it in this year's draft, as they really didn't bring in anybody through free agency. With Diggs now out of the picture, the Vikings went on to select wide receiver Justin Jefferson from LSU with their first pick. Jefferson exploded onto the college football scene last year within LSU's championship offense. He accumulated over 1,500 receiving yards and a whopping 18 touchdowns. Not known for his speed, Jefferson is said to have superb body control and ball skills. He should be able to slide right into the starting role as the receiving core is thin. But who really knows with Zimmer? He's had an odd relationship with rookie wide receivers for most of his career, and he usually doesn't trust them until their second or third year. With their second first-round pick, the Vikings began to patch up the secondary with the selection of cornerback Jeff Gladney from TCU. Gladney is a little small and will need to fill out, but isn't afraid of contact. He's been battle-tested against some of the best in college football and is said to have top-end speed. Gladney should start right away since the cornerback position is thin as well. The Vikings enter the 2020 season with a fairly tough schedule. They're slated to play 2 primetime games and 1 evening game on Christmas in New Orleans. Both of those primetime games will also be on the road against the Seahawks and the Bears, and we all know how much Kirk Cousins loves playing on primetime. Rumor has it that Kirk Cousins actually suffers from some sort of OCD condition when it comes to his regimented schedule. He has a precise schedule he follows during the season, and anything outside of the early 1 p.m. start has been an issue for Cousins over the years. But great news for Vikings fans. There are only 4 games this season scheduled outside his comfortable 1 p.m. start. Any sort of mental condition is nothing to poke fun of, but Kirk is just a really weird dude in general. To this day, no one still really knows what he was cooking on his grill from an Instagram post back in 2018. And with 1 ring to rule them all, he actually thinks Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is a wizard from Middle-earth.
I study you, man. You're the best. I love when Josh called you Gandalf, man. You really are a wizard, man. Not that old, man. You really are a wizard, though. You're the best.
We want it. We need it. Must have the precious.
On the offensive side of the ball, Dalvin Cook has never made it through a full season in his short career, and his history with injuries is a valid cause for concern. Wide receiver Adam Thielen now enters the league at the ripe age of 30 and missed 6 games last season with a hamstring injury. If Thielen goes down, you're now left with Tajay Sharp and a rookie wide receiver. Good luck with that. On top of all of this, the Vikings offensive line just isn't that good, and they ranked only 19th in the league. The big question will be, is if the defense can still operate at a high level after all the losses they endured during free agency. Harrison Smith, Anthony Harris, Eric Kendricks, and Daniel Hunter are still here, but the front 7 has definitely taken a hit. And now we're relying on rookies and backups at the cornerback position? For all these reasons alone, I'm predicting the Vikings to have an off year, finishing 3rd place in the division with a 7-9 record, missing the playoffs. That's right. Unfortunately, I'm just not seeing a playoff appearance from these Purple People Eaters this season. There's just too much room for things to go wrong and not enough depth to keep this ship afloat. Skol! Skol! Skol!